What a week, folks. What a week. This has been one of the workiest weeks I've had. Worked my ass off at the job, worked some overtime at the job, and coming in today. And actually, thankfully, tomorrow is a holiday in Canada. It's a civic holiday, just one of those random holidays they put together. It's like, hey, here's a holiday. We don't know what to call it. Civic holiday. Okay, that's fine. Let's roll with it. In hopes of not reducing the amount of ideologues, maybe. But yeah, and can't wait. I can't wait for things to get back to normal. But I'm not so eager, on the other hand, for the post-pandemic normal activity markup. You know, basically, I'm considering that the second pandemic, the post-pandemic normal activity markup. Like, for instance, I've seen some of the, more tourist, I'm not going to name names here, but some of the more touristy places that have opened, and some of the drink prices that they're charging people right now because trying to make up for lost revenue from the pandemic, etc. That I'm not so eager for. I'm not so eager for these semi-normal activities where you're just gonna juice up the prices because everybody doesn't want to fucking stay in their houses. Not so eager for that. Not to say that I won't partake in them from time to time, but I think, that's why I kind of got my sights set on 2022 for the breakout year. And, I'm kind of glad I took last month off. There was a lot of shit going on in Canada in the month of, to wrap up the month of June. And we had the residential school situation, and the digging up the bones of Native American children that were raped and murdered by under Catholic auspices, under the guise of assimilation, to try and attempt to assimilate the native population, to whitewash them. And you need time to fucking process these things. Like, you can't just come out with something that will it's just a risk to yourself until more information is known, because it's quite horrifying things happening. And another thing that happened also, the Muslim truck attack in London, I believe it was, where a white terrorist ran over a Muslim family. And, you have to, you can't just blurt whatever's random on your head about this, because you're just going to end up pissing people off. I've been in both. I've been in two different kind of versions of Canada. I've been in the rural Canada, where there's not a lot of ethnic population, but there's just enough, and seeing the kind of rise of not white supremacy, but Proud Boys, and just being a little too aggressive with your whiteness, and non-integration and anti-immigration and shit like that. To an urban community where where it's mostly ethnic people. And it's, every time we look into these things, say for instance, so the guy who in the Danforth who killed a bunch of people, he's trying to plead insanity and like, oh yeah, he was an insult, whatever. Looking at all these things, like, okay, well, we can say that a white person that ran over the Arab family is a hate crime. Why can't we say the same thing about somebody that targets anybody? It doesn't matter if you're black and you target Asians, if you're Asian and you target whites, that you did it like. Why is it only certain groups that have to be distinguished as hateable? Like, and it is the same with the gay community too. Like, if a gay person is attacking straight people, like, I mean, it's all the same thing, right? The only thing that's different is that who's able to claim insanity based on what what's our perceptions in popular culture of who can be discriminated against. It's I don't know. I personally think that Canada is too lax in crime punishment, and I actually think most of the world is too lax in crime punishment, and that another way that I deviate from biblical values and biblical norms is that I believe that the punishment should fit the crime, and that a person who murders others should be murdered, or there should be something to disincentivize that. Because all these people, once they get caught, and all it becomes is a game of survival for them, and wanting to avoid the hardship, that as much hardship as possible as they will face through the legal system. Now, the legal system protects criminals too much. I'm saying, like, in a day and age where everything's being video recorded, where it's very hard to get away with things, where it's very easy to prove that you did commit this crime, that somebody who murders, regardless of mind state, should be murdered, and we need to get back to a more eye for an eye style punishment, because the world is getting overpopulated, as we can tell by Earth's reaction to our human filth presence at the moment. And the world is overpopulated, and people who do not play by the rules should not expect the rules to bend for them. We should break the rules for those who break them. Now, I would only think that, I don't think that we should have capital punishment in circumstances where there's any bit of skepticism as to who committed the crimes. If we irrefutably know that somebody murdered somebody cold blood. Doesn't matter if they're drunk, doesn't matter if they're high, doesn't matter if they're on fucking PCP, doesn't matter if they're fucking mentally fucking whatever, doesn't matter what type of mental illness they have, that same thing should happen to them. And it should be on display for public, and we should put it on television. Why not? I mean, we have to get these things out of our system. We have to have a sense of fairness about the world, because when it seems like you are doing your all, and then other people break the rules, and then they're complaining, hey, I just murdered somebody, but I'm not getting full internet access and and Wi-Fi in my prison cell. Yeah. And I'm not even saying to be more that we need to be less harsh on drug crimes, and less harsh on petty theft, and more harsh on murder and violent crimes that affect people's lives dramatically, and that should be all around. That's the only way that, if you really care about not wanting about wanting a less violent world, I think that if you really care about wanting to see, you know, less deaths, less this, less that, like I think that you have to have that opinion, that you have to have that the only way we get there, that is having a more eye for an eye type of system of justice. It's literally it's the only thing we haven't tried up until this point.